Please welcome to the stage, Alba Sofia.
Not a long time ago, my family and I were at home getting ready to go to sleep, when suddenly, out of nowhere, my little brother, who is 9 years old, dropped a question that led us all thinking. You may ask yourselves, what was the question he asked? His question was simple. What is the purpose of life? Wow, that's a very big question from someone that young, don't you think? And certainly a very difficult question to answer. The truth is that I wasn't able to give him a complete answer, but the question got me thinking a lot. Then the months passed, and unfortunately, my grandfather passed away. For the first time, I had to face the death of someone that I loved, and it was hard. But this situation raised many questions in my mind, such as what happens when people die? Do we have enough time to achieve all we want in this life? What was my grandfather's main purpose in life? Did he achieve all his goals? And that is when I decided to talk about the purpose of life in this incredible event. Hello, I am Alba Sofia Prado Garza, and I invite you to reflect with me about this interesting subject. Have you ever felt that you arrive at a movie that have already started and everyone knows what it's about except you? Sometimes that's the feeling we have when they ask the question, what is the purpose in life? We usually say that is a philosophical question, and that word sometimes relate to us like books full of dust or simply something boring. But philosophy is more violent than that. Philosophy comes from the Greek philo, that means love, and Sophia, that means wisdom. So philosophy is the love of wisdom. Throughout the centuries, many great minds have tried to work out the code of purpose, and some philosophers gave us answers. For example, Jean-Paul Sartre gave us a warning. We are born as a blank slate. For him, there was no written destiny. We are thrown into the world with only one mission: to have the courage to choose our own values. In his words, we are the authors of our own essence. But, in the other hand, Albert Camus saw it differently. For him, looking for a logical meaning in life, it's like trying to catch the wind. Life is absurd. His solution? Don't give up. Rebel against that emptiness by being happy and living with passion, even though there's no final answers. Then comes Immanuel Kant, the man of discipline. For him, purpose in life is not to do what makes us feel good, it's to do what is right. Meaning lies in fulfilling our moral duty, treating every person with respect. Meanwhile, Aristotle spoke of eudaimonia, the state of human flourishing only reached when we use our reason to be our best possible version. And finally, Leo Tolstoy. He found meaning in simple faith and spiritual knowledge. It's incredible, isn't it? We go from Sartre's absolute freedom to Kant's duty, from Tolstoy's simple faith to Camus' rebellion. They have left us detailed maps, but each one lands in a different direction. These geniuses already have their turn to speak, already have written their endings, but what about us? What about the people that are in this room today? Surely, as famous philosophers, everybody has a unique answer. I did research and asking my community about the purpose of life, and first of all, I conclude that the question, it is not what is the purpose in life. Instead, it should be what is your purpose in life. Why? Because everyone has a different answer, and that's okay. When we think about purpose, we think about our own mission, about our own goals, about what we like and what we want, about who we are, and surely purpose will be unique for everyone. What you identified as your path may be different from others. Also, your purpose can change throughout the time in response of your priorities or experiences of that moment. During research, I was interested in knowing if people had ever questioned what is their purpose in life. And with their answers, I realized that the majority of them had indeed thought about it and considered It was a very important theme to reflect on it. Very few people prefer not to think about this topic. Also, many of them have a clear idea or know their purpose in life. However, among younger people, I realized that their purpose were more focused on what they want to do professionally. They weren't focused on emotional or more personal things. As the responders got older, their answers became a little more profound, revealing desires to help, serve, enjoy life, and be happy. I think that as we grow up and mature, our purpose we will have a different approach of purpose. Without a doubt, it was a very enriching exercise to know my community's opinion and consolidate some conclusions. What I mainly want to achieve with this talk is to plant a seed of auto-reflection of what we have done so far in our lives and what we could still achieve if we focus on our desires and goals. Questions about purpose may arise at any time in life, but you may notice that they are especially common during times of transition or crisis, like in my case, when there is a personal loss. Also, can be during an educational change or when you face big obstacles. When you face big obstacles or difficulties, internal questions may arise. I want to share with you some questions that can be the clue for starting to settle our own meaning. Questions like, what brings me joy or makes me feel alive? What I would do if money was no object or I could not fail? What are my natural strengths and talents? What legacy I want to leave behind? These questions can help us to do an auto-reflection. Perhaps we will not have an instant answer. They will let us think, act, and reflect. It is also important to realize that purpose is not usually described with words, but it's rather described with our choices and actions. It is not like we're going with a big sign telling what our purpose is. No. Instead, we will represent our purpose with our daily actions. I can conclude that purpose of life is a completely personal choice. We can have it clear or we can have a lot of doubts, but auto-reflection can help us guide us to discover what we want to achieve in life. Remember, there is no correct answer. All ideas are good if they fulfill us, and there are many options that we can chase. For example, we can chase from personal fulfillment, or we can choose to contribute and service others to make a positive impact in the world. Or we can focus on our relationships, family, friends, or community. Or we can concentrate on our spiritual knowledge. Whatever option that makes each happy and complete. Before I say goodbye, I would like to do a short exercise with you. It might sound a bit intense, but I would like to do the obituary test, which involves looking at the end to understand the present. Please close your eyes, and for a minute, imagine it's your own funeral. I will ask you a question. If only one person could come up and say one sentence about who you were, not about your job title or your material possessions, but about how you make others feel, what would you like that person to say about you? Think it for a moment. If you want, you can write it on your cell phones. It's a personal reflection. You don't need to share. What kind of mark are you leaving on others? Are you satisfied with that? Can you work to improve? Now open your eyes. If we deeply reflect on it, what you thought or wrote about isn't about the past, but rather it will become a compass from defining your own purpose. Focus and discover it. Thank you very much for your attention.